Hey everybody, welcome to week 5 of our Ultimate Nutrition Challenge. We have worked on when to start eating, we've worked on how to eat, and now we're going to work on when to stop eating. So we've laid the foundation of getting to empty, finding that zero, finding that true physical hunger, how to differentiate between true hunger and heart hunger and head hunger, and also we've laid the foundation of how we eat, making a difference, making sure that we're sitting down, we're eating under peaceful circumstances, we're being mindful and slow about how we're eating. And all of that is going to help us with the next step, and that is knowing when to stop. Because knowing when to start really can be the easy part. Knowing when to stop can really kind of be the hard part. And part of the reason it's so tricky is because, I mean, let's face it, there's a lot more to an eating experience than just the stomach and the brain. So to separate the physical from the emotional and psychological aspects of eating can be really tricky. So we want to, over time and practice this, detach a little bit from the emotional aspect, the psychological aspect of eating, not completely, because enjoying your food is also an emotional response. And so we don't want to just like lose all the enjoyment of eating, but we want to try to separate the control of the experience from the emotions and get it a little bit more connected with the physical aspect. So we still want to enjoy the eating experience, but we want to be in control of the eating experience. And that's where that frontal lobe rational brain comes in versus kind of the emotional or animal brain that we've referred to earlier. So you can enjoy it and still be in control. And I know that you've experienced some out of control eating experiences. I know I have, when you just like all of a sudden like, I don't even know what's happening here. So we want to try to eliminate that as much as possible. So that's kind of the goal here with that. There are some physical signs that we want to start learning how to look for. We're going to go over those in greater detail in Wednesday's video. And so having having those different things to look for, and it's a little bit different for everybody, but you may start to recognize one or two, maybe three of them. There are three main ones that I'm going to explain, but you may start to recognize those in your eating experience when you're looking for that 5. And so that's why eating without distractions is important, so that we're tuned into what we're doing so that we can find that 5. So anyway, I'm excited about this next part, and I know it's going to be a challenge, but I'm think it's going to be really, really good for everybody. So the action step this week, the thing that you're going to be tracking is you're going to be still rating hunger. And so we're going to still rate our hunger before, because getting to a 0 is going to make it a lot easier to find 5. If you start eating when you're at a 3 or a 4, 5 happens so fast that you don't even realize that you're there, because you're like, I'm eating and I've got all this food to eat. So you're not even really looking for 5. So you're going to rate your hunger before, and we want to be as close to a 0 as possible, maybe a 1. A 1 is fine. And then we're going to rate our hunger right after we're done eating. And then we're going to rate our hunger 10 or 15 minutes after we eat. And the reason we're going to do that is because, especially if we eat a little bit fast, we're going to feel different in 10 to 15 minutes than we feel right after we stop eating, because it takes that 20 minutes for the brain and stomach to communicate. So we want to see how we feel when we're finished eating, and then again in 10 or 15 minutes, and see what that number is. Just for an example, sometimes when I eat and I'm at a 0, and then I eat slowly and I pay attention and I stop and I'm like, okay, I think, I feel like about a 4 or 5 that I'll be done. 10 or 15 minutes later, I'm at a 6 or a 7. And the reason is because I ate fast. I wasn't being very mindful and I overate and didn't realize it. So, and then other times I'll be like, yeah, I think I feel like I've had enough and I can be done. And then 10 or 15 minutes later, I realize actually I still feel empty. I don't think I ate enough. So that can happen too. You're gonna have 3 different numbers for each eating experience. At this point, I'm not going to ask you to keep track of where you're eating or how long it took you to eat. I just want those 3 rating numbers. So there's a new Google Sheet. And if you don't see the link in the old Google Sheet, let me know. There should be a link there that you can click on, or at least copy and paste to find the new one. If you're having a hard time getting to it, let me know and I will text it to you. So let's go with finding 5.